This episode of the Personal Finance Show is brought to you by all of my websites. Here's the current list. The hub for all of my sites is bohumphreys.com. If you want to know about me or any of the other sites I'm talking about, go to bohumphreys.com. This is also the place to enter my giveaways. I have some great authors as guests, and I'm giving away their books. This month, I'm giving away 5 signed copies of Cash Flow Cookbook by Gord Stein, who is my guest on episode 36. Head to bohumphreys.com/giveaway to enter. My number one site in age and traffic is my personal finance blog, investwisely.ca. It's 2 years old now, and in June I got over 5,000 unique page views, so I'm pretty happy about that. My newest site is my small business site, financialaccounting.ca. If you have a small business and you want to do your own bookkeeping with QuickBooks Online or just want to learn more about financial accounting, this is the site for you. ListenToMyBlog.com is a very important site for me. Even though I've been medicated for my ADD for almost 10 years now, it's still not fun for me to read. Well, not in the same way that everybody else reads. I like listening to podcasts and audiobooks, but I also like reading out loud. It's way more enjoyable for me. For written books, we have audiobooks, but podcasts aren't really the audio versions of blogs. So I started ListenToMyBlog.com, where I read and record my blogs and the blogs of others that I like, so that if you're like me or if you want to listen for any other reason, you have the option. Okay, there are a few more, but I'll stop there for today. If you have trouble remembering any of the URLs, just head over to bohumphreys.com and all the links are there. Bo is B-E-A-U, Humphreys is H-U-M-P-H-R-E-Y-S.
This is the Personal Finance Show.
Hi, I'm Bo Humphreys, and this is the Personal Finance Show. What does a book about quitting smoking have to do with your personal finances? That's what I asked my friend Mark Rivard when he told me about his personal finance story. I know you're thinking, if you quit smoking, then you save money. Sure, that's part of it, but the money saved on cigarettes isn't going to make a huge dent in $20,000 of credit card and student loan debt. When Mark told me his story, I knew that other people needed to hear it. You see, Mark got a bit too comfortable living off the generosity of others. We all go through periods like this in our lives. Maybe we're just figuring things out and a friend or family member helps us through the low income or financially difficult times of our life. But how do you learn to take care of yourself financially when you're so used to relying on handouts? Where does the motivation come from to make a change? Just because people keep offering you help doesn't mean that you should take it. And this advice also extends to the help, that's air quotes help, that credit cards offer you in times of need. Credit cards can often seem like a great tool to fund the life that you want, but they come at a huge cost, which you might not realize until you're swimming in debt. And that's the point when you might really need help, but you already used up all of your handouts. What do you do in this situation? I'm so glad that Mark decided to open up and tell his story. It's important to hear, and I hope that hearing it helps you or someone you know make a positive change.
My mom worked at TD.
Okay.
She's retired now.
Well, what does she do at TD?
She's just a teller.
Okay.
For about 30 years. But always, she was there, had my account joined with hers. Actually, it was a joint account up until probably I was in my probably late 20s.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah.
Like, just why would it be a joint account? What's the
I don't know. She always just kept
goal
an eye
of that? Just so she could see?
Yeah. Maybe just kept an eye. I don't really know. Maybe it was cheaper.
But it was your account.
Yeah, I put the money in and took the money out. And
yeah, okay.
Did that.
But she just had her name on it, too?
She had her name on it as well.
So she could look at it.
She would tell me. She would never, she'd be like, hey, it's getting a little low. Stop spending.
Okay.
Don't do that.
Do you know how often did she check this account?
I don't know how often she checked, but enough to know how much I was spending.
So just kind of a way of, this is like your mom, like her way of caring, her way of keeping an eye.
And it was absolutely fine. But the thing was, every piece of financial advice outside of that she could give me, I completely ignored, because I was just that kind of person where money wasn't a thing. Yeah, that's why I probably ended up being terrible with money.
Well, what was your thought? Like, money, it just wasn't part of your life. It just wasn't something you thought about saving or earning so that you could have a better future or something, anything like that?
No, it didn't. It never. Of course, it crossed my mind, but I was just like, other things video games, whatever. Whatever. I was just a kid.
But you need money for video games.
Yeah, well, not when you get them as Christmas gifts.
Okay, so there's that. So yeah, it's hard to develop something when you're younger.
Yeah.
When you're basically, you don't have a lot of costs or anything, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I wasn't handed everything. They didn't just give me whatever all the time, but there were some handouts here and there.
Yeah,
of course. But like I would waste that too.
And so when did you start earning your own money? Like working?
When?
Yeah. How early?
When I was maybe 1990, between 1990 and 1994, I got a penny saver paper route.
Okay, yeah, you're like 5 years old. What are you talking about?
No, that was for ages like 6 to 10. I had this route. I was born in 84. Remember?
Yeah. No, well, that's like, yeah.
So I had a
1990.
Yeah.
That's really young.
Maybe it was.
Did you really start?
A little older. Maybe
maybe a little older.
Getting the years muddied, but no, I had a penny saver paper route, and I had it for a long time.
Okay.
Because the route I had, here's where I got a penny saver paper route, and friends of mine also had paper routes as well. So like, if one of us had to sub in for another, we could go do it. And they ended up getting upset with me because I had fewer houses on my route, but I got paid a lot more than they did. Not a lot more, not like whatever. But they I guess their payment thing was structured based on your distance.
So the penny saver, you don't have to pay for this, right? Is it a free paper?
Yeah, it was delivered free, and they would just pay. It was,
so the advertisers are paying for the function, for the operations of the paper,
I guess so,
and then I guess you're part of that as delivery. But how much could you possibly make doing this?
I don't remember. It wasn't a lot.
No,
but the length of time,
more than everybody else. You're like the top earner.
Yeah, it was a great position, and I don't regret it for a second. And it was because of the distance that I had to travel. Because some houses were very far apart. It was on Riverside Drive between like Kensington and Manning. So,
and this is in Windsor,
in Tecumseh, St. Clair Beach area.
Yeah,
and there's a long stretch of houses that would take maybe a couple hours to get through it all. Like I did one half and then took a break and then did the other half down the west side of the road. Yeah, I guess just because of the distance, I was paid a little more. So that was cool.
And like, do you feel like, thinking about it now, that you work, in a job and you work hard. Do you think you learned how to do that sort of then? Like you're doing this hours and hours of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Did you learn about working hard for money, or did
Absolutely
you not learn anything?
No.
Okay.
I don't think I did.
Not at that time yet.
No, because it wasn't a particularly demanding job, and it involved a lot of walking. The hardest part, I think, was so they deliver. I don't know if you're familiar with the penny saver.
Not so much.
Had a route, no. It was it's a free paper that had a bunch of stuff. Every week, of course, there was different flyers. Yeah,
okay.
A little bit of news things, some flyers. Sometimes they give out free samples of like cereal or something like that.
Oh, nice.
But
those cereal samples never made it. No.
I got to keep
some
the leftovers.
Of them? Oh, you got the leftovers. Okay.
Sometimes, yeah. They usually made it out. Anyway, they deliver all the papers to me first to get them out, but they're delivered in stacks of, there's like a stack of this company's one, a stack of this one.
Oh, you got to put them together.
I had to rearrange them on the table, put them all together, and slip them inside a bag, put them in, we had a wagon or the back of my dad's truck or something like that, and we'd go and we'd deliver them all.
This does not seem worth whatever money you got for this.
You know what, though? It was the first... They were paying me to do this thing.
It taught you work.
Yeah, it taught me a little bit. And then I kind of fell off after that, I guess, because I didn't have a job until years later when I started working with my dad. But back into this, the hardest part was, and the part I struggled with the most was, besides walking around in wintertime delivering these things, was putting them together. And it was just a mundane process of that. So I really don't know why I did it for so long. My mom, we used some of the money to fund a trip we took to Florida.
Okay.
Which was nice. So
that's all right.
But other than that, the money was just kind of put away. And I didn't really have a lot of access to the bank account. Like this is before I had a debit card. So I would just go, if I needed $20, I'd go take it up. I didn't really have anything to spend money on.
You're a child at this point.
We lived next to a corner store, but
Okay. So you saved some of that money. You went on a trip.
Yeah.
And then you stopped at a certain point, and then you didn't get another job until you just said you worked with your dad? Or when was that? I started
with my dad, yeah.
What age would that have been?
Probably in high school sometime.
Yeah, okay.
But it was just like things here and there because he runs a company called Ambulance Electronics, and he just does satellite antenna home theater installs.
Okay.
Like on the weekends and stuff.
Yeah.
Like on Saturday, I just go out with him for a day, go around to whoever called that week needing something, or somebody found them in the yellow pages or something. We just go and do that, and that was... one day out of the week.
Yeah.
And then they'd get some money in my bank account.
A little bit of pocket money.
Yeah,
and
a little bit of that.
Whatever that.
And that kind of funded, I guess, my high school, whatever.
Like
if I wanted to go to spending. Even still,
regular.
I would still, I think, drain my bank account of just whatever, because if we spend a night out, that's how much I made on that Saturday, so I could go spend it, and then I'd be back at zero.
So you're learning that, you got money and it's for spending.
So at this point now, yes, and before it was just put wherever, saved for a trip.
Yeah.
This money now is mine, and I was older now, more things to spend it on, food at school, there's cafeteria, alcohol.
Sure.
All the fun stuff that comes with being a teenage.
There's not enough
person.
to save. There's not enough really to be saving for the future, right? Maybe that's your thought, or just no thought.
Never,
right?
I never thought after high school, after college, I didn't have a
you didn't have that outlook.
clue of what the future was going to be.
This seems like a very common thing. Like some people are like, I'm saving from when I'm like 2 years old, and some people are
and now those people,
like, I'm spending my money, and who knows what the future will hold.
Exactly.
And so this is not an uncommon thing, though we like to think that it's a delinquent behavior,
right.
But it's not for a teenager, and not even for someone who's just starting out. Not because at this point you don't have debt, and you can't get debt yet because you're not 18.
Right.
Did you get into the debt when you were able to, like credit cards? When did that start?
I got a credit card, I think, when I was in college.
Okay. So like they offered it to you like at school, or
no? It was
was it for a reason?
I wonder. It might have just been for like a emergency thing, or for just spending at college. And I would go through that real quick too.
Yeah.
Like
So
it was just another,
it was a savings account.
Yeah, or like free money.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, here's a credit card. Cool.
Not to pick on your mom or anything.
No.
But like she's working at TD.
Yeah.
She's not saying like the credit card is not for you to spend, or maybe she did say that.
I think she
probably
said
that.
Oh yeah, it was
And
likely
then
that was said. Yeah.
I'm going to spend it.
Yeah, and I did. And I spent it right up until that one day where I swiped it and it said insufficient funds.
Wow.
And I was like, that's how quickly. And it wasn't a very high limit. It might have been, I think it was any higher than 1,000 or 1,500, maybe even 500. To be honest, I don't really recall, but it was still, I had gone through it quickly enough where I was like, So that's that now.
And
didn't learn anything from it.
Well, what about when you started making payments? How did that feel? Like, did you start to get the picture of like, or now I just have to?
Kinda. Interest wasn't a thought that crossed my mind either.
No,
Didn't even think about it. Paid whatever.
Okay, even when you're making the minimums.
Yeah, I might have gotten a few handouts, Christmas, whatever,
and
money,
then
cash.
kind of put it down on that.
Well, some went to that. The majority went to spending other things.
Spending
Like I said, through this is peppered moments where I get some handouts that I just waste on.
Sure. Yeah, but this is another common thing where you're just making the minimum payments because that's normal.
Yep.
And I probably was like that too. When I was in my early 20s, it's just this is what you do, right? And nobody's saying like it's going to take you 72 years to pay this off at this level because it's never going to, your interest rate was probably 20% or something like that, or maybe you got a better one. But okay, so now you're in college. And you got that one credit card that seems to be usually maxed out.
Yep.
And your bank account's probably empty.
It was never very full.
No.
It was always going between full and empty. Like the weird thing I got caught up in when I got paid for doing any work for my dad through college is that like, I have all this money. And when I get to zero, that's when I can stop. Okay. I have the money. I should spend it. And then once I get to zero, no more spending until I get more money. It's just like I didn't have any idea of what to do with it other than that, not to save it, not to do whatever.
Interesting. Yeah.
I was very ignorant about
no, it's
all that.
I guess it's kind of like common sense, isn't it?
Yep.
Like I have money. What I'm going to do with it? I'm going to live my life. And then when it's gone, I'll try to find more money. Right? But how did you find more money when you needed it, especially in college and stuff? Did you have loans, other kind of loans, or
the college stuff?
Like
I did OSAP, and that's what mainly was like maybe a good percentage of my debt up until a couple years ago. But I would ask for handouts here and there too. On top of that, $20-$40.
Like I don't know.
I wouldn't get it all the time.
Well, how does that go? Like I don't have money in my account.
Dad can borrow $40.
Can I borrow it? Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Would they think you would ever pay it back?
If it was like 20 or 40 or something like that, maybe.
Sure. Yeah.
In the hundreds, maybe, but I don't think I really asked for.
And it was just for living
much.
things. It's not like you were, I need to buy another big screen TV or this or that. You're spending and you're just trying to. Okay, so so now, but you're still in Windsor at this point?
Yep, still living at home.
So living at home and going to St. Clair College.
Yeah, didn't have a car. Used my mom's car. She had a Dodge Avenger at the time. I was taking that.
Okay, so your
back and forth.
your real expenses are low.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. The only thing I think they might have even for the first little bit paid my credit card bill, but it was like a
Yeah,
little
just to
flip
help you out.
phones, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of parents do that.
Yeah.
You're trying to just give you the edge so that when you do start on your own, which is the next chapter of the story, you can start fresh.
Yeah, well, I
And-
didn't do that either.
Yeah.
The next chapter where I started fresh did take place till years after that.
Okay.
I also, between high school and college too, I took up smoking, which was
So this is an expense for you.
it was a little bit of an
Now,
expense.
was it?
It wasn't at first because I would either because my parents smoked, so I would
Sure.
take cigarettes from them, or somebody would just give me some. I bum smokes all the time from people at school.
But how much would you say spend on a typical day? Like how much would cigarettes cost in a day?
Depends on. I used it. I would calculate it when I did it after I quit. I calculated it. I guess weekly because I wasn't the heaviest of smokers.
Sure.
But I maybe had about 5 to 8 cigarettes a day, which in the pack there's 20 or 25. So by average 2 or 3 packs a week. That's, and they're probably a little bit more expensive now, but between $7 and $10, I think, is what they were going for.
Yeah, sure.
Back then, so it's $30 a week. That,
Yeah.
granted, if I had that money, I probably would have spent it on something else anyway.
And how long did you smoke?
Like, since I was 16 till 29, so about 13 years.
Yeah,
yeah.
But it'd probably be about 30
Okay.
grand,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yep.
Like in over 10 years.
Yeah.
If you would have been invested it,
Right.
and then of course that would be, and then if you kept that,
Yeah.
it would grow, and it would probably be like a couple $100,000 at retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's crazy when you think about it. Nobody thinks about how much these things add up. But like you said, you would have spent it on something else.
Yeah, it was spent on.
It's not like, if
something.
only, right? It
Yeah.
just would have gone somewhere. That's the thing. At a certain point of our life, people can throw tons of money at us, and it just disappears, right? It's like you don't even realize how, because nobody taught you how to track your money. Nobody taught you any reason to track. Nobody taught you the reason to save. We kind of need more of that. Like,
Well, that's the thing. I wouldn't say I wasn't taught it. I was always being like my mom.
that's a good point.
These things were always being mentioned.
really don't want to put this on your mom.
Oh, no.
Because she probably said all of this stuff to
Yeah.
you, but how do you teach someone to listen?
Exactly.
You can't.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
So you kind of have to go through what you're going to go through.
Yeah,
That's the only way to learn.
I guess so.
Is that
Unless you pick it up a lot better and it place more importance on it, maybe from a younger age. Like there's some people I know who are financially well off just because they were smart from the get go. They were good in school.
But why? Like,
I don't know.
They just happen to be like. I know some people that just have catalysts early. Like you maybe your parents almost lose the house, or they lose their jobs, and you guys are almost on the street, and you're like, oh, I'm never going to be like that. So that's that instills that in you, right?
Yep.
I went through a gambling addiction. That's another thing that kind of pushes you forward early, right? Like, oh man, can't let that happen, right? But I guess if you don't have anything to light the fire, how do we teach? And this is probably a question that everyone's been trying to answer for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
How do we teach people to understand the importance? Not just like tell them, like you can tell people to do tons of things, right? Like brush their teeth, and then then they don't, and that's why dentists exists, right? and there's so many things, right?
Yeah.
Like money is so ubiquitous, though. If you could tell somebody, like we tell them all the time, but if we could really make them see that $100 a week, if somehow they got that, if they start when they're 16 or whenever, oh man, they could retire at 40. Like it's, I'm almost 40, right? Yep. Imagine if somebody would have said you could retire now, and I feel like I'm 20.
Yeah.
It's great. So I could basically retire at 20. It's really fascinating to me. And I guess all we can do is just keep talking about what happens. And so, okay, so you're still in Windsor, or have you left yet?
Still there. Graduated college.
Okay, and what did you do after that?
Still, I think I took a year off from school. I just worked with my dad.
Okay.
For the main part. I should add, I got like a part-time gig when I was at the college working on their phones. They were calling applicants and stuff, and they paid a wage for that.
Like the registrar's office, that kind of thing?
Something like that, yeah. It was like a group of like maybe 5 or 6 of us calling applicants and doing a whole bunch of stuff there. So that was a tiny little job I had for, I think, the final 2 years whenever they wanted me in a few days a week, maybe. I think it was minimum wage or maybe even below minimum wage. It wasn't really nothing. Again, it was just, and it was money that was coming in alongside now of the work I was doing with my dad.
Okay.
And then that stopped obviously once I finished college. And now I had this college debt of about...
Yeah, how much was it at this point?
The program was a brand new program. It was music theater. And
Yeah,
it was,
so you
was
took
probably,
music theater,
yeah.
and
it was about $5,000 a year, I want to say, in a 3-year program.
okay.
But again, here's another handout. My grandmother paid for my 3rd year
Oh, that's nice.
as a gift
Yeah,
to me. I was blown away. I was like, wow, well, thank you very much.
that's super cool.
So now I still have, I'm $10,000 in debt to OSAP, and that's just coming out automatically out of my bank account.
Yeah.
It's just coming out minimum, whatever. I don't think the interest was very high, but I don't really, again, I don't.
But
really
they force
remember.
you to pay it back,
Yep.
and they give you a certain amount of time to do that. They don't
Yeah.
give you a choice, really.
No, of course not. And I knew that from the beginning of getting it. I was like, okay, well, then when this is
come
done,
out.
I'll be paying you back because maybe I'll be, who knows, maybe I'll be an actor or maybe I'll do
so
this.
that was the plan. You wanted to get into acting or theater.
Well, it had always been a passion,
Yeah.
of course. Again, with most things, most jobs I've gone through, even that as a passion and music and everything, I was kind of take it or leave it.
Yeah.
I would do it anyway, whether or not it made me money to a certain point, I guess. But I had been paid for acting gigs. There was some companies in Windsor
Yeah,
that would
so
pay
you had some opportunities.
So and I would do those things as well here and there.
Okay, yeah.
It wasn't, again, it's not the best pay, but you do it. And I was in the band as well, which is the reason we even moved to Toronto in the first place.
Okay, yeah.
Was that? But the band money was I never got. That was all put towards like funding maybe an album
Okay,
or,
so
or
reinvested,
gas.
yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. So I never expected to see anything from that anyway.
What was the band name?
We were called My October.
My October.
Yeah,
Cool.
it was a lot of fun.
So how many in the band?
4 of us, I think, and we changed out a few bass players, added a singer here and there,
Cool.
and we rode that wave all the way to Toronto.
Okay, so
But,
so let's move to Toronto then.
Okay.
So you did some work with your dad in Windsor.
For about a year.
Yeah, but and enough to pay the OSAP.
Enough to keep paying the minimum that was coming out all the
That's
time.
right.
Not
What
enough.
about the credit cards? Where are we at with
I still have the one credit card. I think I'm making minimums. I don't know if it was, and again, handouts here and there
that? Yeah.
for just putting money on the card.
And is it just like the end of the month you're looking and you're realizing, oh man, I don't have enough to cover in this one, to cover that one?
No,
So
that wasn't even. That's the thing. That's how much I was oblivious to it. I barely even looked at the statement all the time.
Okay, so how did you know when you needed money?
Either it would run out, and I would say,
You would actually be at a
yeah.
store.
yeah. And I was like, all right, well, I'm using debit to pay for this one then, or cash, or my
Wow.
mom would tell me. She'd be like, "Is getting low."
Of course, you
Or
had
whatever.
this the angel
Yep.
watching your account angel.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not everybody has this, by the way. It's like
No, yeah.
it seems so normalized to you.
And
Like,
you
yeah,
would
my mom
think-
was looking at my account. She just said put
Yeah.
more stuff in.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You would think that I would, clue in at that point. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, you're doing this, you're doing that. You just
So it
oblivious.
just
It's
wasn't
like,
a thing.
don't worry about
wasn't
it.
a thing.
Wasn't
You're
a thing.
focusing on your living. You're focusing on your life,
Yeah.
right? So you're in Toronto. You guys all moved into a house together.
Moved to a house in North York, so summer 2008, about a decade ago now.
So you're paying rent
I'm paying rent.
now for the first time.
Yeah, this is the first time I moved out. I paid rent for a little bit,
Okay.
and then I didn't pay rent anymore.
And how did that work out?
Well, here's the thing. Here's another thing. I got another handout from Grandma. She
Oh.
gave me. She wrote me a check for $2,000. Said,
Okay.
"You're moving to Toronto. Here you go."
and
Within the first couple months, that was gone.
yeah.
I just spent it on. We went downtown. We went out. We did all these things. Everybody in the house had a job except for me. There's like an LCBO on the corner. When we passed it to go see the house, it's like, hey, I want to work there.
And you would just say this.
Just said it, but not knowing at the time that like they had contractual.
like a
position, so, like-
is it a union?
Yeah, it's unionized, but when you start. I'll just get into this real quick and then we can move. But when you start there, you just work for like a seasonal contract. Like,
Oh, so you
From
couldn't
just
even
November
get
to-
a job full time there
No.
to start if you wanted.
oh no,
Yeah.
no. Unless, I mean, I don't know. It depends if you can move up there if you speak French, actually, I guess, which is really nice.
But okay.
Because they're focusing on like French language service stores. But anyway, sorry, I derailed. That happens a lot.
So how could you justify not working while everyone else
I was
was?
like, oh, I have $2,000.
That's gonna last me forever.
Yeah, exactly. That feels like a lot because it was different from when she helped me pay for that final year of college. This was $2,000 for me
to
to
live.
spend on myself to live. And again, I had no.
You can stretch that out for how long?
I did. Well, I couldn't. I didn't. But some people can. I did not.
So when the money ran out,
My girlfriend at the time was offering to pay my rent for me.
okay.
And I guess maybe I took advantage of that as well for a little too long.
Okay.
I'm not going to get into too many details, but like obviously that didn't work out well
Yeah.
for the relationship in general, and it fell apart a bit after that.
That's
but
probably a common thing, but
yeah. Oh yeah.
Hey, that's a lesson.
That is a lesson. That's a hard lesson.
Yeah.
Again, the lesson I didn't learn until many years later.
This is what, we have to live. We have to live these lessons, right? It's like we can't just read a book. I think especially you, because you have a bit of a independence streak, and I'm not going to say rebellious, but let's say against the status quo of saver, right?
Yeah.
And so of course you're not going to let anyone tell you what is your path. You got to experience it for yourself and learn, and then say, oh yeah, they were right about that.
Everybody was right about all of that.
Everybody was right. I'm sure they feel okay now, but
I hope so. Yeah. Well,
it's I want some people to be listening and then play the episode for their 20-year-old, saying like, oh, I don't need to work, right?
Yeah, everything's gonna be all right.
Everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah, no.
So okay, the girlfriend, she paid for a bit, but then that didn't last for a while.
No, I got a job.
Okay,
and
where'd you end up getting a job?
The liquor control
at the
board.
LCBO.
Yeah, at the LCBO. Like I said, that's
I'm gonna work there.
Yeah.
So you got the seasonal position that they were offering.
Yeah, for one time in my life, I had a goal. I was like, I'm gonna work there, and then hey, there we go. I work there now. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, and then I had the seasonal job, so I worked from like maybe November until New Year's.
Okay.
That first year, and then that was it.
That's it. Like a firefighter.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
You're only working for the summer fighting forest fires, and then the rest of the year you have off. Except they typically make enough money in that time for the whole year.
Exactly.
And can go on EI. Were you able to do that?
I made enough to buy most of the Christmas gifts I wanted to that year.
Okay.
And then I think I did try going on EI, but then I got hired on again.
Okay.
The following summer.
Oh, the following summer.
So about 6 months later.
So wait, how do you survive for 6 months?
Handouts again.
Okay.
When I go back, when we would take trips back to Windsor, families there, they hand me, grandma hands me $50, whatever. So
but still not paying rent though.
I could.
Okay,
I guess.
how much was rent in this house for you?
There's 4 of us in there. It was about $2,000 rent, so $500.
Okay, well that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And in between then, I was getting some extra background gigs work on.
Okay.
On
Oh,
shows.
that's good then. You're picking up this and that.
Yeah. So that was okay here and there. I had enough, I guess, to make it by. But again, still the majority of the rent. I can't give a percentage, but I guess she was still paying the majority of my rent for me.
So why just LCBO? Like, why was that the only option for you? Like, what about, we have friends who are waiting tables, right? Working catering. Was that not for you?
To be honest,
yeah,
it was so damn close to the house.
Yeah.
I could walk. Yeah, it was on the corner. If they called me in to go work, I could be there in 30 seconds.
Okay.
So that was one of them. 2, I don't know, maybe, I guess, that's the thing. I mean, I'm told I'm a people person, customer service wise. I guess I'm pretty good, but I don't know how some of my friends can handle doing the waiting tables and stuff. Because sometimes like the stories I would hear sounds too much. I'm like, oh, I think I had a bad day where I was. Yeah. Sometimes it can be worse there. Maybe that played a factor in it, I guess, but also just maybe it didn't seem appealing to me.
But the fire under you to pay your rent and to pay for things, it just wasn't there.
No. This is not a video podcast, but I shrugged at that. I was like, that's the way my mindset was. It was terrible.
Wow. Well, I mean, it is. I don't know. I feel like a parent right now. Yeah. It's nice to hear you acknowledge that. Yeah. Right, because for you to be able to survive at that time, it took a village, basically, and you were just accepting that, or just you're not even thinking about it. You're like, I'm floating. I need to survive. And everyone's like, we like Mark. So we want him to survive too. Yeah. And we know one day he's going to be an upstanding citizen. Yeah. And so, so you got hired on full time? No. Actually, another season?
I'm still not full time. I'm still
summer season. Oh, you're still not full time.
No.
Sorry, spoilers, everybody. So how does it work then? You like, how do you get the hours that you want? Or how did you start?
You started as the seasonal casual.
Yeah.
Your contract's up at the end of New Year's. If you work the summer, your contract's at the end of on Labor Day. That's when it's up. Yeah. So I worked the summer, and then if they need people or they liked you enough as a person or as an employee, they'll give you a phone call and you get hired on.
Okay, so during all this time, then your OSAP Is there a dent being made into that debt?
Not really.
How do the minimum payments work for OSAP? Like it's going down a little bit. I hope
It's going down a little bit. It's coming out of my account automatically every however often, month or a couple times a month.
And then of course the LCBO money is just for living.
Yeah.
It's not like you're able to put an extra chunk. Maybe you're getting some gifts. Grandma seems to be quite generous at times.
That might have been the end of that in particular.
Yeah, okay.
Of her handouts, saved for I think one more a couple of years ago as Christmas gift. But
yeah,
again, spoiler alert. So
yeah,
but no. Then for a while it was just the generosity of others that I will be forever grateful for. It's what kept me in this city, I guess. As well, I didn't have a lot of money, and if I moved back to Windsor, then it'd be like Toronto had defeated me.
Like the end. It'd be the end for you.
Yeah.
You're working for your dad on the Saturdays, and that's it.
Which was a silly thought at the time, but it crossed my mind, and I was like, well, no, I want to stay here and get stuff done. And
okay. So LCBO, you're able to keep doing the seasonal then?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, they hired after the second season job I did. They hired me on.
Okay, great. And then you would get you were still part-time though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as many part-time shifts as you can handle?
As many as they could give me. I wasn't really, I guess at the time they didn't really guarantee hours for that. I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about it without them.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, we don't have to get into that.
We have like a strict rule about for social media and stuff like that. But it's not, I mean, it's nothing you can't. This is nothing you can't find out, I guess, publicly anyway.
No, yeah.
Like the way, like when people
if they apply
for it, this is what you find out.
You want to know what you're going to be able to get. Yeah.
But I'll just be careful with what I say regarding that. But I mean, yeah, I got hired on part time, which was a year round thing.
Okay,
so
great.
If somebody called in sick, they go down the thing. It's a seniority list.
So this sounds like it's something that might be able to sustain you.
Yeah.
In terms of financially.
Yes.
But you're not quite able to pay down the debt yet?
No. And couple that with the fact I'm still in the mindset I was way back when, like, money, spend it till you hit zero.
Now you're spending, you're buying things.
Yeah.
Like what kind of things? You got a little bit, do you feel rich at this point? Do you feel like, wow, I got like a steady income?
In a way.
Yeah.
Like rich in the way that the income's coming more now because I have a job that can be for however long I want it to be.
Yeah, wow.
But also at the same time, I'm just buying, I don't know, things here and there, video games, beer,
whatever you want.
Whatever I wanted, because I wasn't at home now. I didn't have to worry about, why did you buy that?
And no judgment.
Although there was still judgment, I guess. But then I guess in a way I kind of thought like I was saving because now I had this, I had a savings account that would put $1 in every time I used my debit card.
Okay.
And that's big
One
saver.
Of those, yeah. Okay, you're building it up slowly.
Well, yeah, and then that would all go because I didn't know how to use the savings account either.
Right.
I knew how, but I just didn't care. I would, once the bank account got to zero again,
then
out comes the savings, and then it depends on the more I use my debit, the more I'll have in the savings next time when I get to zero.
This is perfect logic.
Yeah,
I'll just spend. This is how people justify credit card rewards.
Yeah,
but it should be things that you were going to spend anyway.
Exactly.
Which hopefully mostly it was like the McDonald's Monopoly. Like it's fine to play McDonald's Monopoly, but you don't go as long as you don't go eat at McDonald's every single meal while it's on. Then you got a problem, right?
Well, then you're waiting for that Park Place piece that's going to be in Saskatchewan or something. Right. That's never going to come to you anyway.
You might as well play the lottery or, anything that is that, it's not going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
But people like to think all of this stuff will happen. Did you end up moving from the location yet?
Yes. So my girlfriend and I moved, we kind of split off across the city.
Yeah.
The band stuff was, I think at this point, getting a little shaky, not in terms of like our relationships with each other, just like scheduling.
Yeah, so you had band money too coming in every so often.
Yeah, again, I wouldn't see
much
of
that.
It would either go to
reinvest.
Well, we'd pool. Yeah, we reinvest into like we had a van now, a band van that we take out.
Okay, wow.
But then so we got rid of the band van because we all moved out to, like I said, separate places across the city. And then I think a few months later, my girlfriend and I broke up.
Okay.
And I was given maybe a few months to find a place, however long I needed, which was also very generous. And I was on my own.
Okay.
So that was that. So I had there was no more, oh, can you pay the rent this month? Okay.
So you weren't even paying rent still?
Again,
sometimes.
It was still, it got to the point where it would be a question at the end, can you pay
the rent? Okay.
And sometimes it was yes.
Yeah, that's nice. And
more often than not,
that's
it
nice.
was no.
I wish somebody asked me that at the end of every month.
Like I said, the living off the generosity of others like friends, family, spouse, sometimes tends to get a little too familiar.
Yeah, I mean, I just hope some people listening will, will understand that, maybe they're taking a little too much advantage of this and that, and just because people keep, offering it to you doesn't mean that you should keep taking it, right? Is that a would you say that's a lesson that
Absolutely.
you learned?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's like learning how to say no, but instead of asking someone to ask you something from you, it's somebody giving something to you.
Yeah.
You just gotta learn to say no sometimes, but
you're still young. You're still young at this point, and that's cool. And so, okay, so now you got your full-time, part-time, basically, and you're good. You're living life, and the debt is still there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so you didn't have any. There wasn't something that lit a fire to pay off the debt, or what did that come at the same time? No, but you wanted to quit smoking.
I did before. Actually, I have another.
Am I jumping the gun?
A little bit.
Okay.
I have just a straight. So I moved out. I'm on my own now.
Yeah, of course. Oh, did you get more debt?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
This is where. It's
sorry. Let's keep going. Let's keep going on
this
that.
This is where it probably gets
okay,
really
so
interesting.
You're out on your own. You got to pay your rent, which you maybe might not have the money for. Okay, what happens? How many credit cards you got?
This is where it gets really interesting, and where we can get into the thick of debt and financial crisis. The one thing that stuck in my head now was like, okay, now I have to pay rent.
Yeah.
And I find a place, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to be able to pay rent on my own.
Like full, yeah.
So I'm going to have to
probably be about $1,000 a month.
At that time,
$700 to $1,000 in Toronto at that time. So, yeah.
So I found a couple people looking for a roommate near Danforth. This is before I moved on to Danforth. Near Danforth.
Okay, near there before.
And it was a 3-bedroom place. It took up about half of a house. That was roughly the same, maybe a little bit more, maybe $550 a month.
Okay.
So that was the one thing that stuck in my head was like, okay, now I have to pay rent, and a lot of what I've been spending on that comes into my checking account can go to rent.
Okay. So
that's one
the
tiny
thing that happened.
First tiny thing that happened. And then I went and got maybe 3 or 4 credit cards.
Okay. And now you hadn't applied for credit cards before now.
I hadn't.
And why?
Because, well, companies called me and offered them.
Yeah. So they just happened to call you.
I didn't know it was a thing ever.
And you're like, wow, yeah, sure. I'll take this.
I always thought it was your own bank who would just be like, hey, you're approved for this. And that happens
Good point.
too.
It happens. That's usually how it does. But then, yeah, of course, the third-party companies like MBNA and Citi and that, they come out of the woodwork.
They do. And
other banks.
Well, the first one is when I decided that it would be a smart idea to finance a TV. I wanted a fancy new flat screen.
You just said finance a TV.
Yeah, I know. And every time...
Please don't do this, anyone.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Please don't
Mark.
do it. No. Oh, man. So I decided to buy a TV, and it was a payment plan for however long. The TV was like $700.
How big is this TV?
It was about 32 inches.
Okay.
My first LCD TV, so I was ecstatic to get it.
Okay.
Possessions and yay, but again.
So the financing. So how much did it end up being?
I don't really know.
Oh,
because again, I never tracked that. I just paid it
on the credit card.
Yeah, but I didn't buy it with credit card.
You financed it so you could have more credit card limit. Well,
they sent me, it was financed by Desjardins.
Okay.
And they sent me a credit card in the mail.
So they sent you an additional credit card because you used them for financing.
Yeah. So I think the financing was like the payments for the TV was taken off the card, if I'm not mistaken.
So it did come out of that. Yeah.
So it came out of that, I think. But that was, and then that was like a little.
But you had more room in there too. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, it was a $500 limit on the card, so it'd take whatever for the month, and I just spent whatever.
Couple that with
one. Couple that. Well, credit card 2 because I still have the other one.
You have the other one, which is
but this is
typically at its $1,500 limit. I
think it was. I want to say it was 15, between 1,000 and 15 at this point. Then I think I had gotten.
Okay.
I called and got a.
Oh, you got it more. Yeah, extended. Yeah.
Of course. I guess it was approved for that.
Limit increase. Yeah, of course they will. You've been a loyal paying customer.
Yep.
Paying the minimums forever.
Yeah, exactly.
And you will pay forever.
No reason. Yeah, I don't think I ever missed a payment unless it was,
No,
so
you got good credit.
Good standing, I guess.
So you got good credit.
Yep.
This is like the danger zone, right? Good credit.
Oh, yeah.
Because you've been paying minimum payments, which, the credit scoring system, I don't know if everybody knows this, invented by the banks. Mm-hmm. You get points for just making the minimum payments. Surprise, right?
Yeah.
Surprise that they're okay with that.
Yeah.
That means that you're a good customer, right? It doesn't mean that you're good. with money
Yeah,
at
exactly.
all. So anybody listening, if you have great credit, it doesn't mean that you're good with money.
Exactly.
It just means the banks love you.
Yeah.
Right?
Because you're using theirs.
That's right.
That's pretty.
So, and paying
upsetting.
them interest constantly. So, okay. So then there's more credit cards coming?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
One day I was sitting around with a friend, and I got a call from Scene Visa.
Okay, yeah.
So you're approved because I've been
Movies.
using the Scene points for movies and collecting and doing that, and I get
Scene
a
points
call.
are great.
Yeah, oh yeah, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't think I paid for a movie in a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
But well, I have, but in a different way, I guess.
In a different way. Yeah.
But then I was approved for a Scotia Scene Visa, that every dollar gets a point towards going to see a movie.
Yeah. Oh.
And that card has a $6,000 limit.
Oh, they give you $6,000.
25-year-old Mark is over the moon.
Yeah.
I just got $6,000 for. See, that's the.
But what did they look at to decide that $6,000 was okay for you?
Couldn't tell you.
Like you're. Okay, I mean, do you know what's your annual salary at this point? What, like, if you had to estimate working part-time LCBO
at that point?
Yeah, at that
Back
point.
then? Oh,
yeah, you don't have
geez.
to tell anything now.
I really
or
don't.
you don't have to say it now if it's not comfortable.
It was maybe between 15 and 20 grand.
Yeah. So
It was
like
a lot.
yeah, not.
It might not even be that high.
I
but
think
definitely wasn't any
currently. I haven't looked in a while actually. I think the poverty level is around that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, like, and then they give you $6,000. This just makes me so mad.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're rich.
Now I'm rich. Now I'm spending. Now I'm going to IKEA and I'm buying big things. You know.
Oh my god.
Although, I guess some days I was frugal with IKEA. I would go and just get a lunch, not buy a big thing. And then
How many times do you go to IKEA?
Whenever.
What, the Leslie one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was, I guess, the most convenient
Closest one, I guess.
Go get some meatballs and then walk around, get some ideas, and then peace out. Get prepared for the next time I go in. But so that was that. And then I got that card, and then I think moved on to Danforth.
Okay, yeah.
Around the same time. Still smoking.
Yeah.
Still living with roommates. We got the three of us in this flat now, and the rent's a little lower.
Okay, yeah.
It's actually the lowest rent I've ever paid.
It's because it's above a Greek restaurant.
Because above a restaurant, I don't know if they really. I guess the landlords at the time, they're not the landlords now, but I guess it had been for lease for a while, or for rent for a while. Because I remember when I was looking with the guys, we were like, oh, there's this place here. And I called, and I was like, oh, okay, well, and we looked at some other places, west end of town, didn't really get back. And then it came crunch time where we have a week where we told everybody else we're moving out. We got to meet in this and find a place. Okay. And so crunch time. So I just go, hey, why don't I try this place again? We call, what's the price again? Oh, $1,200. Cool. $400 each.
Yeah. Done.
Yep.
Okay. So you ended up, you moved into this place, and how much did you how long did you end up staying there?
Probably about 4 or 5 years.
So 4 or 5 years.
Better part of at least 4 or 5.
Now, are we still on the downward slope of credit?
Yeah, I got another credit card.
Okay. Is the 6,000 maxed out?
It was getting maxed out. Yeah.
Okay, so you would maybe have a little bit of this and that. Okay, so another credit card. Are we in balance transfer zone yet? Did you ever get into that? Transferring balances for 6 months
from one card to another card?
Yeah.
No, never did that.
Okay.
It was always an option that I saw if I wanted to, but I was just like, no, okay, this card's done. And I was a Rogers customer, a loyal Rogers customer for about 5-6 years at a time now.
That, yeah. So
and they had a new rewards card coming out, that a rewards Visa or MasterCard or something like that if you get that and you use it and you get the credit on that towards your phone bill.
Okay, well that seems awesome.
It sounded fine because my phone bill is like $70-$80 at the time now anyway. I got a smartphone. Doing that whole thing, just paying just money coming out wherever for the bills from the checking account.
By the way, none of this is awesome because this is not any spending that you can afford.
No, of course not.
Some rewards are great if it's something that you can afford and you would spend, but really it's just terrible. But please go on.
Oh, okay. No, I agree. And at the time, like, all right, cool, awesome, another credit card, $7,000 limit on this bad boy.
No.
I know it was.
And do you remember how much your OSAP would be at this point? Is it like an 8 or 5, or have we even got that low yet?
I still had maybe like 6 or 7 to pay off.
Yeah. Okay. So 6 or 7,000 in the OSAP. Now we got about 15,000 now total in credit, like consumer credit. Yeah,
went through that Rogers card real quick.
Okay. And this is just living and buying this and that. Like, were there any like crazy big purchases in this? Like,
Yeah, especially when I got the Rogers card, I bought a bed.
Okay.
But I was sleeping on a futon.
Yeah, you're probably thinking.
So I was like, nice new bed.
Sure,
dude.
it's a big spend, but it's not excessive, if you will. Like maybe you could have got a cheaper bed.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
people need beds, and you should be able to buy a bed.
Yeah.
But it's not like you bought like another big screen TV, which maybe you did. Is it coming
I did
up?
not.
But
Nope.
the 7,000? No. Okay.
I bought a projector.
Because you're still financing. You you bought the projector. Okay, because TVs are not big enough.
No.
And how much, like a projector would have been about this, less than it, than
it was
this,
less
that
than a TV,
size
but
of
it was
TV.
still like $1,000. Although the projector, I paid with it with the credit card, but I threw that much money from my checking account on it right away just to be like, oh, I saved. You know what I mean?
And
it's a weird mentality.
This is the
that I was in.
the period of time that now I know you at this time
Yeah.
of life. And I've seen this projector on the wall, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, it was great.
Right? It's great. and can you use it now? Do you have white space on the wall?
I do, but we don't have enough
room
to make it larger than what our current TV is.
Yeah,
So
okay.
I was just like, well,
so the projector
still,
is now
it's in storage.
It's in storage, but it will be used.
It'll be used.
Like there's a media room coming up in your future.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, it's so it's not going to go to waste, which is good.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, you could have sold a lot of this stuff, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
So we got $15,000 in consumer debt, like 6 or 7 in OSAP.
Mm-hmm.
So you're hitting around 20. I feel like there's more. There's more coming, or was that it?
Let me think. I had. Oh, I guess. Well, in between the move from near Danforth to on Danforth,
Mm-hmm.
I had a conversation with my previous girlfriend that I should start paying her back
Okay.
for some of. And again, me being me who I was,
Sure,
in that time in that place in my life, it was her that suggested this to me, that I start paying her back for the money I owe her for the rent.
Yeah.
And we decided on a specific amount.
Okay.
And I paid. So also, along with all this credit card stuff that I got myself into,
Now you're
I'm putting maybe a couple $100s a month aside, sending it to her account.
Okay.
For I think that was maybe maybe a 2-year stretch, 2-3 year stretch, I guess, to pay that amount back.
Wow. Okay.
So on top of that, so I'm working. I got another job at a market research firm.
Okay.
So I'm working
so
2 jobs.
So you got another job doing
Yeah.
this because your minimum payments got to be crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All over the place.
Do you remember how much you would have been paying on about 15 grand in credit card debt?
Between 80 and 120 probably.
Sure.
Something like that. Sounds pretty much like. And then the interest on top of that was.
Well, yeah.
When you look at it again, when I was shredding the papers, a tear just forms and comes right down because it's like so much of that went to waste.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the bottom of statements, they tell you how long it's going to get paid.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if they did at that point. It might be newer, but they would have listed how many years it would take you to
Oh
pay
no,
off.
maybe I haven't
They
seen
do
that.
it in fine print now.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it's like 700 years or something. Like they
Wow.
actually like what even if it was 70 years, which I've seen, or 90 years, which I saw in somebody's credit card statement, to just print that out, like that's some balls. Okay.
Yep.
To print that for someone to look at and just to know
Yeah.
that you're gonna be doing. You're like, it's in such small print that it's not like advice. Like you should pay off more. It's just like an FYI. Like, hey, you're screwed. FYI, sign the banks, right?
If you care to glance at this part of the page upside down, you'll see
Yeah,
this.
exactly. Yeah, or in a mirror, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, are we at what lit the fire then? So you got to be thinking, I got to do something about this.
There's a
by
point now. Yeah. Once it was the crippling anxiety that I felt when I owed a good friend that much money,
and you felt like you need to do it, but you don't have money to do that.
Well, I again,
You
we
found
did a
it.
payment thing. Yeah, I just would take whatever is in my checking that I wasn't putting anywhere else. So there again, it was a couple $100 a month.
So that you felt what was the feeling that you had then?
It was just I was just so mad at myself for even it cost me the relationship. It cost not just that, maybe other things too, but that was a big part of it.
Yeah,
and no doubt it's the reason why I felt so terrible about it. So I guess that was one.
Kind of like a
thing.
catalyst.
Yeah,
there.
and I didn't really want to take any money from anybody by asking for it again.
Okay.
So I had to double down.
I see.
Got more shifts everywhere I could at the 2 jobs.
Yeah.
Then started getting more hours at LCBO, enough that it would take up most of my week, and going to the other job wouldn't be worth it because I'd have to leave early to get to the other one. So I no longer work at the research firm.
So you focus on the LCBO.
Focus on the liquor control board, and I was getting enough hours that I was comfortable enough to kind of assess.
Yeah. Okay.
Still spending, like, I was living on Danforth, like Greektown,
Still,
maybe. Like, that's, you know, there's every night you can go.
Lots of
Why would I cook when I
opportunities.
can go downstairs
Okay.
or to a bar? So, I mean, my excessive spending in that regard still hasn't stopped. Credit cards are still maxed out until I pay however much at the end of sometimes it wasn't just minimum payments. It was like, okay, how much do I want to spend on this card next month? $300.
So you're starting
Put that on
some like preliminary basic planning to try to minimize your spending, maybe,
Or to maximize it on the card for the rewards.
okay, sure. But you're thinking outside of like take the thing and throw it in the garbage.
Pretty much.
So this is a small step. But what were you thinking? I got to figure out how to pay this off, or were you thinking I'm just going to live with this for the rest of my life?
I'd say a little bit in between.
Yeah,
It was
okay.
neither nor.
Yeah.
Like I would say that it's probably a good idea that I should start paying this off because I don't want to be with it for the rest of my life, but also what can I do?
Yeah.
What am I to do? I don't want to,
Yeah.
like I just made a promise to myself. I don't want to ask for money from anybody.
You don't want to go any further.
No, I don't want to go any further.
But you're kind of fixed at this 15, 20 grand.
Yep.
And did you realize at that point that with that plan, you were never going to pay it off? Did that cross your mind? Because that's that current.
You know what's scary? I don't think it really did.
Yeah.
And looking back on that now, I think I can say that, yeah, I think I ever did.
Yeah, because people, I think the thought is eventually I'll pay it off and I'll just keep it. But that's not how it works.
No.
If you don't make more than the minimums, you'll never pay it off.
Yep.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
So, okay, tell me what happened to change all of this.
Well, I quit smoking. And
Okay.
I'll just jump right to that. Yeah, I quit
Yeah,
smoking.
so what made you want to quit smoking?
I guess
Because you're smoking every day.
every day, yeah.
But not like 3 packs.
Not a chain smoker,
But
but like
this is
between,
this is an addiction. This is an addiction for you. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Almost as bad as spending money. I
Yeah,
guess,
exactly.
in a way.
Which,
And it
was an addiction too.
yeah.
So yeah, why?
I think I got to the point where as well, I was gaining a little weight. I couldn't get to the top of the subway stairs without getting out of breath.
Huffing and puffing. Yeah.
And I think, I mean, that's how this all kind of starts for anyone who wants to get smoking. It's like, oh, I can't really go upstairs as fast as I used
Something
to.
has to happen.
Successful.
Right?
Something has to happen, and it was also like I couldn't really. Now that I was starting to assess what I was in control of and not in control of, that was something that I definitely was not in control of, and I didn't like that. So I quit smoking, and I guess it's not. Well, back then it's like it's such a weird way. I guess a lot of smokers in passing have heard about this book by a guy that if you read this magic book and then you put it down and you're done, you'll magically be done smoking for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and I've heard about these things too.
Yeah.
And it seems crazy. It seems like
that seems
how
absurd.
could
I
a
was
book
just like,
do this?
yeah, it's like, well, the skeptic in you comes out and you're like, well,
Sure.
how can that be true? How can that be
Yeah.
possible? And again, it's still weird to me because I don't know it. All right, to get into the thick of the book, I guess.
So this is Alan Carr.
Alan Carr's Easy Way to Stop Smoking.
So the Easy Way is their brand.
Yeah.
And they've applied it to everything now. They started with the smoking,
Right.
and there's one on gambling that I flipped through.
Oh, yeah?
Of course, it doesn't apply to me now.
No, of
so
course
it's not like I'm going to go through it and do it because I don't need to quit gambling.
Exactly, yeah.
I could have used it then, though.
Yeah. Do you think it would have worked on you then?
I don't know.
You know?
It's really hard for addiction. They seem to think that the same thing that worked for you could work for anything. So, hey, I probably would have tried it. But, who's to know?
Yeah, exactly.
But, okay, Alan Carr. So, yeah, what are do you have key things in the book that helped you? Or
I haven't. I'm going to try to go through it as best I can because the last time I read it is the last time I started when I had a cigarette.
Yeah, no, sure.
Maybe about
we don't have to go
4
through
or 5
it,
years ago now.
but,
No, but
yeah.
I'm gonna try to remember, I guess,
Yeah.
the points. So I guess, yeah, there's this book you read, you're done it, you put it down, you're done smoking. So I pick up the book and I start reading it, and the first thing that he says to do is to keep smoking till you're done the book.
Okay.
And I was like, well, that's stupid.
I'm trying to stop.
I'm trying to stop. Why are you going to make me do this? And then about halfway through the book, it just kind of clicks for you. And you're like, oh, the whole point of this is to smoke and then break down smoking, break it down to a level where it doesn't seem appealing to you anymore.
Okay.
And then you don't want to, but now you can't stop because you haven't finished the book yet. So
wow, it's torture.
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And okay. But it worked, I guess, in a way where it was such a different take from typical, like, on the cigarette packages, you have all the gross, like the lungs,
they're trying to
people
scare
with their
you.
missing teeth and all that, trying to scare you into it. And he's one of the main points he makes as well in there too. He's like, oh, I'm not really going to scare you with all that because you know all that and you're still smoking.
Yeah.
So let's tackle it from a different angle.
Exactly. That's not going to work. Yeah.
It basically, and I almost want to say it kind of rewired my brain and certain, I guess, stigmas I had about quitting that were just made up in my head.
Okay.
Like that it, for example, that it relaxes you. Like the dying soldier in a movie is given his last cigarette to relax.
Oh yeah, that's all I needed. Yeah.
That it keeps you stress free when in reality it doesn't actually, makes your heart rate go faster. It makes you a little more anxious.
And so it was just posing these things to you in a way that you never thought of before.
Yeah, pretty much. And it was, I guess, too powerful to ignore because there was about 3 or 4 points where I was reading the book where I absolutely wanted to stop for good. And there was no way I could.
You weren't allowed to.
Weren't allowed to until you were done the book. And that's where, I guess, that's where it clicks for you. That's where it clicked for me for that. And then because another one of the promises that he makes in the book is like, once you're done this, you're gonna not smoke. But the best part is, and you're gonna kick yourself for this, you're not gonna have any cravings.
Really?
You're not gonna have any. It's all without drugs. And you don't have to use a
true.
patch. You don't have to use anything else. Absolutely true. And I don't know how. Again, I kicked myself for not reading it earlier.
It's just crazy to me that a book could do that. Anything could do this.
I know.
Having gone through so much addiction therapy myself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If somebody would have said like, and maybe it would have worked. Hey, just read this book first.
Yeah.
And then
exactly.
then you can spend 10 years at CAMH with a problem gambling counselor.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. Maybe I guess maybe the same thing wouldn't work for everybody, but the book I think has like a 95% success rate.
Yeah, I mean the fact that it worked for you is amazing.
Worked for my dad.
Yeah. Oh, so your dad did it too.
He was smoking for like 50 years.
Right after you did it?
Not right after
no,
I did it.
But he saw what happened to you. See, there's powerful stuff, right? And it's not, like you said, it's not necessarily going to work for everybody.
Right.
But there's no harm in trying it. I mean, other than the fact you're spending money on the book and making, well, Alan Carr is passed on now, right?
Yeah.
But you're making the easy way and his children wealthy.
The whole estate.
But, they probably don't need you because they like one person will be like, holy crap, this is great.
Yeah.
This is the best book ever. You're like an advocate for life now.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, so that's amazing, and I wish it was that easy for everybody who wanted to quit smoking.
Too.
And right, because you probably run into people who maybe they've tried it or they just don't want to.
I know a lot of people who still have the book and are too afraid to read it. Because why? Because they're afraid they're going to stop smoking.
Afraid about change.
And then
everyone's afraid of change.
And then there's I kind of like you brought up in a few podcasts I think before about stigma. And there's of course the stigma with money and finance and goals and stuff, but there's also one with smoking that like, what are you going to fill your time with? I'm going to be angry. I'm going to be this. I'm going to be, don't talk to me for 2 weeks while I quit smoking. And it's
so afraid.
Terrible things like that, and putting it up on a pedestal like that you stay away from this. And it was such a weird to get over all those stigmas, but the book breaks all those down too, and then it just makes you not worry about it anymore. Okay,
so you're then able to apply this to your money situation.
Yeah, in the way that I think the first thing in the book that he mentions is that you have to admit to yourself that you've made a poor choice.
Okay, yeah.
And that you've essentially kind of been brainwashed into thinking cigarettes are everything that they are.
Yeah.
Or everything that you think they are to you.
Wow.
And that's kind of what clicked for me in the beginning to stop smoking. And in all of his other books where it's like there's a healthy eating one that I've clearly read but not followed. There's a drinking one. There's a gambling one.
How many books do you have?
I've read the smoking and the eating one.
But they don't have a spending one.
No, eh?
No, that's what I'm asking.
Okay, I've never looked it up. I never thought about it.
I'm guessing that this was your
This was good enough
issue.
I think. Yeah, it was. But
right?
the spending wasn't the one that I hadn't admitted this to myself yet.
No.
And wasn't even ready. Not even maybe the first couple of years after I stopped smoking.
So how long did it take then?
Maybe a couple of years.
So a couple of years while you're still floating this $20,000 in debt.
Yeah.
And you're not smoking, which isn't great and all, but it's not helping your finances.
No, of course not, because I was too busy in my head thinking how great it was that I'm not smoking anymore.
Hey, and
I was
take the time. Take the time. Be proud of that.
Yeah.
Oh, the crushing addiction.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, please.
Over the moon.
One thing at a time.
And
right?
and it was hard enough, which is why I always, I never get to say it, but I'm very proud of you for overcoming, I guess, what would be two of the hardest ones that I think of for gambling and alcohol, because when I first met you.
Yeah, well, they were connected.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, when I first met you, it's like,
Well,
oh, hi,
you.
I'm Bo. I don't drink. Oh, why not? Okay, because you flat out just said it because it did this and I had a gambling addiction and this fueled it, and I don't do it anymore.
You got to say
like,
it. But the one thing I didn't have was like, and here's this magic formula.
Yeah.
To if you have a problem, you do it.
Exactly.
You have this. You're like, here, read this book. Maybe it'll work for me. I can't say it because I don't know. It doesn't really work for gambling, but
I might have thought you were just a weirdo.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, even more of a weirdo, I guess.
Do
yeah, just do that.
Well, I tell everybody do transcendental meditation. But
Yeah.
It's I don't want to sound like a cult. But that does help.
Yeah.
Meditation, anything, therapy, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But okay, so you're proud of yourself, which is great, of course.
Yeah.
Take your time. But is it just brewing in your head? Like,
yeah, for a bit.
I can apply this stuff, or just like slowly you're thinking this is not important anymore. Like the spending.
Yeah.
How do you start paying down debt if you're not making that much more money?
What I did was I went to the bank in it wasn't the most desperate time, but I was just like, I want to see if maybe, and I think I started dating my current girlfriend at the time, who is financially, she's been in control.
She's pretty
of her
good with
for
money.
a while. Yeah. You should have her on.
Yeah,
she bought a condo at 21. You could probably people could learn some stuff from her.
That's I hear of people buying real estate early, and these are the people who are pretty much set for life. I mean, it just goes from there. Now you have the seed money, and you're good. Yeah. So what a inspiration or something to live up to there. Yeah. So that a little bit more of a fire than you went into the bank.
A little bit, yeah. So we started dating. That was more of a thing. I went in and we were going to have we established, I guess, because again, she's financially sound. She wants to know about my debt and what's coming with me into this relationship.
Full disclosure. That's good. I recommend that for everybody.
So I laid it all out.
Okay.
And this was that. And I was like, and this is where the point I brought up. There's got to be some kind of consolidation for this, either putting it all on another bigger card, or something else. And what was suggested was a loan,
like a consolidation loan.
Yeah,
yeah. At a low enough rate, I guess, lower than your credit cards.
Lower than the cards by a good amount.
So just to interrupt real quick, yeah. So your options, if you do have a lot of debt and you're looking to get out of it, or want a consolidation loan, as you said, the stopgap measures or balance transfers for 0% for 6 months, but you maybe don't want to get involved in that. But it's a good way to, if you need it in a pinch and you have another card, or you can get another card and you're not able to do that. The other options really are consumer proposal and bankruptcy. And I don't know if you considered either one of those.
No, I've never, like from the get-go, I was never good with finances or anything. So I never even consider it because I don't know what it would.
You never thought about what a bankruptcy,
No, like it always sounds like a bad thing. It's the worst thing to me, that's the worst thing on Wheel of Fortune.
It's the worst thing on the list.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It sounds bad. I didn't really want to think about it.
No, I just don't want people to discount, like, if a consolidation loan doesn't help, right? If, but your frame of mind has to change too, right? So your consolidation loan, so you did that. Yeah. And all it does is just move your debt.
Move my debt.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, you're paying a little bit less on a monthly.
Right.
So you were able to increase your payments then?
Yes. I wasn't just paying minimums on that. I was deliberately paying more. Yeah. Because I wanted to just
that's the only way to get it down. Yeah. Yeah. You remember how much the loan ended up being?
It was between 14 and 15. Okay. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So it was a lot to ask for. And even, I don't know why, the guy, it's another thing too. The guy at the bank wasn't even straight up said, "It's like, I don't know if this is gonna,
this is gonna help.
This is gonna fly."
Well, that's because that's if you go to a bankruptcy trustee, even going through bankruptcy, like, sure, it ruins your credit for a while, so you can't get credit, and all your debt is gone. But if you don't fix the problem, the debt will come back. Yeah, just like when your bank account was empty, you couldn't spend. When you got more money, you spend it. It doesn't matter. Like you get more credit cards.
Exactly.
So how do you make it stick? What did you do?
I just kind of stuck to it.
I think you changed.
I now kind of was in a, living with, and I guess finally heeding all the advice from past, it finally came to the forefront
It's all
because it was
coming-
being repeated again now at a time where I'm more open to ideas of how to get out of this.
That's right.
I would say as well that now again we're going full disclosure here. I don't want to
Yeah.
leave anything out.
Sure.
I think once my OSAP got down to a certain amount,
Yeah.
maybe there's $1,000 or $2,000 left, I got a handout,
Okay.
put it on that.
Hey, nice.
Once my
Not a TV.
yeah, no, exactly, and that's the thing too. I saw
You're in a different place now.
one more handout from Grandma
To crush it.
to crush it,
Yeah.
and this was my crossroads, I think, as well, because I
Oh,
saw myself spending this on whatever.
Oh my God.
Saw myself spending it on doing whatever I wanted, like maybe. I don't know what else I could get at this point. I had a bed, I had a projector, I had video game consoles, I had just about everything. And I was like, well, I could also use it for this. And I saw myself there, and I didn't want to see myself having to go to the bank again to apply for this loan again.
No, because that
And
wasn't
I was
comfortable.
like,
right?
yeah, it was so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's like, I don't know if this is it might not be approved. I was like, well,
You're like,
try it.
great.
Yeah. So.
Oh,
So I guess in a way that sort of sped up the process. Again, I had to make a choice. I didn't, when you come into money, like,
Yeah.
did you ever win a jackpot?
yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, then I spent it right away.
Yeah, of course.
So that was the worst day of my life. But I did get an inheritance
Yeah. Okay.
from my grandparents.
Mhm.
And I did, I was right in the thick of it. I mean, I might have been taking a break at that point, but half of it, I put it on my student line of credit that couldn't be reopened. The
Right.
one that just can only be paid down now.
Yeah.
Right? Like OSAP. You can't
Yeah.
reopen OSAP. You can't access that money again.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's the safest place to put money. You'll never see it again.
Yeah.
But I blew the other half of it.
Right.
It's like, so you have to make those choices,
Yeah.
right? And that's probably the best choice that I made in that whole 10 years,
Mhm.
of my 20s.
Mhm.
And so, so you did that, and that freed up money
That freed up money a
that
little
was
bit.
coming that you could then put against the loan.
Yes. Well, I put that all. I think that took care of the rest.
I mean, the OSAP is done.
OSAP's
Or
done,
your
and then
consolidation loan.
this took care, I think,
Yeah.
of the consolidation loan.
Okay.
And then whatever I had left over was just in my checking. It was a couple thousand, maybe.
So you had, how long did it
chipped
take
it
you
down.
to pay all of this off?
Like
15 grand took me 50 months. And
Yeah.
my payments were fixed at $300 a month.
Oh wow.
No interest.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
That's part of the consumer proposal. That
Right.
was my deal. It went from 40,000 to 15.
Right.
Right. And then it was fixed, and I could save extra money.
Mhm.
But for you, you still had interest on this loan.
Yeah.
But was it a set time period? Like, you make these payments and the loan will be paid off?
I don't really call it. Again, I still wasn't in. I just wanted to get the loan, and then I
Yeah.
think have I been calling it a loan? It was a line of credit. If that makes a difference.
Line of credit.
Sorry.
No, it's the same
Okay.
thing, except you can reaccess a line of credit if you need it.
Okay.
Which means, do you still have access to that?
I don't know, because it's just sitting there at a big fat zero
Yeah.
in my account right now.
I mean, it's
And-
not bad to have.
No, of course not.
But it's also dangerous
Yep.
if you're
But I
worried
haven't
about
touched
that
it.
at all.
I haven't touched it since.
So it just seems like it would take, a good, 5 years or something to pay this off? Or did you just get throwing tons of money at it?
I put the loan from Grandma was substantial enough to take care of the rest
Oh,
of it.
okay. That's good.
So yeah, not
So-
the loan from Grandma, the
Yeah, so you
Gift
paid
from
some of
Grandma.
it off, and then Grandma gave this one big lump sum, whatever
yeah,
it was.
yeah.
Did you say how much, or you don't have to say how much?
It was 10,000.
Oh, wow. Okay.
'Cause
so,
she's
okay.
has so I want to I've done the work in my mind and the work of like working really
Yes.
hard to chip it away as much of it as I could. But I also want to say I've been fortunate enough to have certain handouts. Again, you have older relatives who are giving away most of their savings or estate or whatever.
Yeah.
That can help. But again, I had to make the choice whether or not to blow that.
Wow.
And like I said, I didn't want to see myself.
That's
going
good
for
for
that
you,
again.
because
Yeah.
you were at the point where this will cover all of it, and it's done.
Yeah.
And you trusted yourself enough. You have this new state of mind that you're not just going to go and rack it all back up.
Exactly. I'm still, in my own mind, I feel I'm still not good with money.
Well, we can work on that.
Yeah, exactly. We can. I still spend here and there, but it's never, now I have money in savings and going towards whatever.
Well, what, you got some
It's
investments? Or?
Yeah, some investments through the bank, I guess.
Sure, okay.
A certain amount of my
We
paycheck
can
goes
talk
towards
about
that.
that,
Yeah,
too.
exactly. And
But you have these, what happened to the credit cards?
I canceled them all.
They got canceled when the loan
As
happened.
part of the deal to get the loan,
Good.
they
I'm
had
glad
to get
that
canceled.
they did that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's smart. That's important
Yeah.
too. And this line of credit, I'm not going to tell you to close it down because it might affect your credit rating, but we can talk about that too.
Mhm.
But if you think, and it's nice to have an emergency until you have an emergency fund,
Yep.
which you're building now,
Yep.
right? So okay, so you just still have one functional credit card, or do you have
Yeah.
no credit card? Yeah,
No, I got a new credit card.
you got the little one. No, what they give
I got
you?
rid of all of them. I had
You got a new one
I got a new one
just
from
for
the bank
regular spending.
for regular spending. It was I got one and then they canceled it. They made it, I guess, obsolete.
They canceled the
Yeah,
card
it was a TD Visa, cashback Visa
and it
that I
doesn't
had for
exist
a
anymore.
couple of years. It doesn't exist. They changed it to MasterCard. I guess maybe I didn't find the new rewards appealing enough, so I got I went and I got another Scene Visa.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But
This
now,
is for everyday things. And what's your policy with the credit card now? Would you pay it off?
paid off in full
Yeah, like
every month.
Every month. Yeah.
Yeah,
Before the interest hits.
absolutely.
And
The second I get the email, I open my app and I pay it.
And is this just something that you feel that you should be doing, or you want to do this? This makes you feel good.
It does.
Yeah.
It really does, because I'm working for the money that I spend and put away now. I get enough hours, and it's a better mindset. Like I said, I've been over the moon since I stopped smoking.
Yeah.
My health improved dramatically,
and now
my range and my singing voice, like
perfect.
everything that they
so
said
many
would happen.
added benefits.
Yeah, everything that they said would happen when you stop smoking happened.
Okay.
Lung capacity greater. I don't cough anymore. I don't have chest pains that would happen every once in a while. It's just everything. So that, I guess, from a financial perspective, I guess I'm happy to not have the anxiety of my crippling debt bearing over me anymore. If I had to put it into words like that.
So freeing, isn't it?
It really was. I hope that it continues this way for me. I'm okay, I guess.
Well, we can
feel all right.
we can make sure of that.
Yeah. Okay,
we can
great,
make a plan. It would be really unfortunate if you did all this work and then we didn't have a plan, so that if something because hey, shit happens, right? It's a podcast. I can say whatever I like.
Yeah.
But yeah, shit does happen to people, and sometimes it's not your overspending or your carelessness or whatever. It's just something happens, and then you're back where you were if you don't have an emergency fund to cover certain things, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, we can have that, and then we can, start planning for savings and stuff. So, good for you, man.
Oh, thanks very much.
This is good. So you don't. Normally, I would tell people how to find you on your website and buy your thing or whatever it is you do. But I feel like this is more. If anyone was going to do anything, go buy. If you want to quit smoking, go get the easy way out in car. I feel like you're going to end up working for them.
Probably. I mean, I bought probably about 5 or 6 copies of the book I give out to people.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you would be a great. Sort of if they have a conference, you go and talk and say it worked for me. I mean, everybody is totally skeptical, of course, about all this stuff. But hey, I know you. I know this is true, and that it works. And the fact that you're then able to that new, like you said, rewiring of your brain, right? That's what happens in addiction therapy. And you got addiction therapy in a book, which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
All of the therapists out there are like, what?
Yep.
And the book is probably $20, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think I got it cheap online.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, there's older editions you can get it cheap. Yeah.
No, thanks for coming and
thanks for having me.
Thanks for being so open, because
I
know it's hard to talk about mistakes in the past. And like you said, the first thing you had to do was to admit that you made a mistake. Right?
Absolutely.
The smoking with the spending. So awesome. Well, thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
If you like this episode, please subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. It would mean a lot to me, and it only takes a few seconds. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Personal Finance Show. Next week, my guest will be Brian Daly, co-founder and CEO of a company called Smart Refer.